SGDQ 2018 is now complete. The week-long speedrunning marathon raised more than $2,122,000 for Doctors Without Borders, with more than a quarter of that coming in the final day. That marks a new record for SGDQ, and the first time the summer event topped the $2 million mark. With the marathon going 24 hours for the whole week, there is definitely some stuff you missed. I'm Dean from Curse, and if you're looking to catch up on some stuff you missed from this year's SGDQ, here are a few great places to start. Sometimes the very best runs of the GDQ are of the games nobody's ever heard of. Smartball's run of obscure NES platformer Kid Cool in the wee hours of Monday morning was a weird and entertaining run. While Smartball himself stayed mostly quiet, the game's unusual design combined with the couch's commentary made it an incredible time. Kid Cool's extreme momentum-based physics made it a run full of absurdly fast movement and high jumps, which the Japanese name of the game alludes to.
And the Japanese name for this, if you don't know, is translated as Kikefu's Jump Heaven Speed Hell. So that kind of just explains the game right there. I don't think I need to say anything else.
One of the recurring themes of the run was Brosensha on the couch expressing his utter hatred for the game and how there's no reason to play it ever again.
Smartball decided to play it, and I'm like, never mind, I have no reason to play this ever again.
That was until he was issued a challenge.
What if somebody were to donate like $1,000 to Games Done Quick right now in your name to get the sub 30? Would you get it?
Yeah.
And about 6 minutes later, that challenge was met.
Well, looks like you're gonna get to love them, Brosensha, because we have a $1,000 donation!
And a few minutes after the run ended, it was met again.
And another $1,000.
Yes! You shall become a king!
Studio's run of Rise of the Tomb Raider felt a lot like a run of Skyrim. It seemed like the entire thing was spent setting up clips and going out of bounds and awkwardly moving up the sides of icy mountains.
Laura can now kind of fly on surfaces. You can actually get some speed. I'm going to ramp up this wall. Let's go, go, Laura, go!
If you were at all familiar with a casual playthrough of this game, this run, well, it may not even have looked like the same game. Huge sections of the game were skipped entirely, and the ones that weren't looked like this. Studio's run wasn't a perfect one. A few mistakes and some bad luck brought him in a couple minutes over his estimated time of 1 hour and 20 minutes at 1:22:40. But it was still a great time seeing the game be taken apart with clips and glitches like it was a Nintendo 64 game.
So, climb up this mountainside. Fall down this mountainside, trying to fall inbounds.
Mike89 has been a fixture in the speedrunning community for years, and SGDQ 2018 marked his final run before his retirement from speedrunning, a trick-filled glitch fest through Sonic 3 and Knuckles. There was just one very serious problem with this run, and that problem was Tails. Now, in absolute fairness, he was just trying to help.
$15 from Anonymous. Love the Sonic block. Please remember to be nice to Tails. He's just trying his best.
Yeah, can't guarantee that.
But Tails' first major contribution to the run was to kill a boss that Mike was trying to die on so he could reset the stage for a glitch. That memory glitch would have allowed Mike to effectively skip past all of Act 2 of Carnival Night Zone. But since Tails destroyed the boss, Mike ended up having to clear the zone normally, losing him several minutes on the run.
Also important that he...
I can't even die now!
And that wasn't the last time Tails ended up trolling Mike by helping.
He did the hard part really.
And he killed... I have to reset.
Eventually, Tails just became the scapegoat for everything bad that happened.
Thanks, Tails.
And then when it came time for Tails to actually come in handy for the one trick Mike brought him along for, it didn't even work.
I'm playing this normally, I don't care.
But despite Tails' best efforts, Mike still came in under his estimate and received a heartfelt send-off for the completion of his final speedrun.
And time.
If you only watch one run from SGDQ 2018, this is the one to watch. It might be the one GDQ run to watch ever. The first ever run appearance of indie platformer Celeste at GDQ featured a race between the number 1 and number 2 speedrunners of the game in the world, TGH and Yoshi Pro. On the couch were the developers of the game, doing commentary on the race as it unfolded.
If you dash diagonal down on the ground, that's called a hyper jump. That gives you a lot of speed. So you'll see them doing that here a lot.
As it turns out, Celeste was designed with skips and speedrunning techniques in mind, as the devs are speedrunners themselves. As soon as the game started, that much was obvious. TGH and Yoshi Pro zoomed through the game. Every single room was a showcase of precision movement, pixel-perfect room skips, and just pure speed. Words can't possibly do the race justice. There isn't even really a single highlight to focus on. Just watch the whole race and be impressed.
So coming up, watch Teja's screen here. There is a very precise trick, and he got it. That's a 3-pixel window.
Yeah.
And if that didn't impress you, later in the week, TaskBot took on the game with computer-aided tricks, finishing the whole thing in about 25 minutes with techniques that are simply beyond human limits.
Did he just quit through a spike wall? What?
One of the biggest draws of this entire event was the Super Mario Bros. 3 race between Mitch Flower Power and Grand Pooh Bear. And for about 17 minutes, it was a great back and forth race. But then, disaster struck in a very NES cartridge kind of way. In frustration at taking damage, Pooh lightly stomped the ground. Under normal circumstances, you'd have barely noticed it, but Mitch's NES, it definitely noticed. Pooh was visibly distraught about inadvertently hard-locking the system, and he spent the next several minutes just apologizing profusely.
I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry.
It's really okay.
No, man, I'm so sorry, dude.
Instead of continuing, he just sat on the overworld with the timer running, waiting for Mitch to catch back up. Then the two of them worked out an on-the-fly reroute to compensate for Mitch's inventory disadvantage, bringing the competitive balance back to the race in a matter of minutes.
You sure not 4? Everyone hates 4, so we might as well do.
We should do 4.
As the crowd and incoming donations gave Pooh respect for his sportsmanship, he restarted the race and retained a slight advantage for the remainder of it.
I gotta admit, y'all, that's some of the best sportsmanship I've ever seen, so props to both of you. Seriously.
Until... This time, all it took to hardlock the system was Pooh just dropping his controller on the ground. It looked like Mitch was likely to complete his comeback after Pooh's death in Bowser's Castle, but now we'll never know. Pooh finished the game normally, while Mitch went for the infamous wrong warp finish, just to get to the credit screen somehow. But the game had one last surprise for Mitch.
I'm so close, Pete. I'm so close.
Not every GDQ run is as simple as just go as fast as you can. Some of them are much more complicated. One such run was the Pokemon Blue and Yellow glitchless run by Me Gots This. And that does mean blue and yellow. This was a run of both games on the same controller, controlling both games at the same time.
So this is a treat, the simultaneous evolution.
Stop him evolving.
Oblivi is evolving.
That's not a good thing.
In addition to the strategies necessary to run through the game normally, Me Gots This had to keep both games in lockstep, accounting for bits of lag and desync between the two versions. That meant strategies like sticking Yellow version's Pikachu in a PC almost immediately, and managing something called color lag.
This is one of the points where Yellow slows down even more from Red and Blue, because there's a color lag whenever your HP bar changes color. It wastes 5 frames for both you and for the enemy.
Sometimes the game synced up incredibly well. Other times, one game's protagonist got his ear talked off while the other finished a fight. Unfortunately, with as impressive as the run was from a technical standpoint, it was heavily RNG dependent, and the RNG did not play nice at all, especially toward the end.
Oh no!
Oh no, why did you say it?
The run went bad late on yellow version on account of some awful critical hit luck and a missed input.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's going to be a wipe on yellow.
And since it was overestimate, they had to cut their losses and finish on blue version alone.
We're going to finish out the blue run here.
Yeah.
Still, despite the run's flaws, it was worth it just to see Me-Gots keep the 2 games in virtual lockstep for 3 whole hours.
Time.
There was lots of Mario goodness on display at this year's SGDQ. There was the aforementioned Mario 3 race, the GDQ premiere of Super Mario Odyssey, and a Super Mario Maker relay race between 2 teams of 3. And that's just to name a few of them. But with as exciting and fun as the run was, the showcase of challenge stages after the Mario Maker race was one of the most impressive moments. After runners like Failstream, Carl Sagan 42, and GlitchCat7 wowed the crowd with precision tricks, Cliffy stepped up and pulled out the blindfold.
He's gonna do the next level blindfolded.
What?
Yes.
For the next 2.5 minutes, he ran flawlessly through an entire level using only sound cues and advanced tech. Of all the runners to show off their levels, Cliffy was the only one in the Mario Maker block to not take a death on his run. This year's SGDQ showed off incredible speedruns of over 150 games, and we've only talked about 7 of them. There is a lot more for you to see other than what we've just talked about. Tell us in the comments about your favorite run of the show, and enjoy going fast.
So this is the end, isn't